Alright, so as you already know, Sonic Frontiers has been out for almost a month, which means we have gotten a lot of thoughts and opinions on the game. From regular people to critics. I hate saying it that way because it makes it seem like critics are more important. But from a lot of people. But we haven't seen the reception of those opinions from those who have made the game until now. Because Daddy Kish, also known as Morio Kishimoto, the director of Frontiers, has come out and said some shit. And it's some shit. About the not really about the reception too much, but more so about the game development and certain things that could have happened but didn't happen and the situation they had to deal with. So we're getting to all this right now. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure to subscribe. We are trying to hit 100,000 subscribers and hopefully 7,000 subscribers before DLC Frontiers comes out. So before we get into the meat, let's just quickly go over the Metacritic, because I know I mentioned in a previous video that Sonic Frontiers at 80 on Metacritic for the PC version. Well, it's dropped to 74, back to the yellow. It was expected, but it was nice to see. Also, the Switch version of the game has dropped to 69, so it's only in the 60s. Not good, but PS4 only has like 4 critic scores and has now hit 81, which is the highest for any 3D Sonic game since SA2, which hit 89. Again, there's only 4 scores because it's the PS4 version, and most people didn't play that, at least the critics, because they sent out review codes for PS5. So, again, PS5 is going to be the most accurate version of the game, and that's currently sitting at 71. So that's probably the most accurate score. But yay, Frontiers hit an 81 on PS4 until it inevitably drops if it gets another score. And maybe it won't, maybe we'll just sit at 4 scores. We don't know. Anyway, onto the Kishimoto shit. So, Daddy Kish, on the official, I think this is an official channel, I don't even know, Sonic Movie channel, they do Sonic Station live from this channel, and as you can see, one day ago, Kishimoto, you can see him in the thumbnail, was playing Frontiers and talking Frontiers, right? He was discussing the game as he was playing the game. I don't know if he was the one playing or if someone else was playing. I didn't watch it. I saw it in my sub box, and I was like, it looks interesting. I'm sure he's gonna say some shit, but I'm not gonna watch 2 hours worth of this shit just to find some little tidbits, right? I ain't got time for that shit. People on Twitter do. So we've got the information dissected into a bunch of tweets that we're going to go through, and there's some meat in there. So I'm gonna discuss right now. So there's other interesting notes about Frontiers development from the last night Supersonic Gamers stream. It says here, Ninja, remember the first boss, was really strong at first, so that only a few people from the team managed to beat it. Which means they gave it to the people in the Sonic team after they did Ninja, and clearly, aside from a few people, the rest of them were crying, just like Soros was crying, because we didn't let him get that third goal, and we had to make him go home, like the way he made us go home. So, they were crying, and I'm guessing they had to make it easier as a result, because as you already know in the main game, Ninja was easy as fuck. Combat systems like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry were considered, but didn't work well as a Sonic game, I'm assuming because they require a lot more effort to actually do. So I guess they wanted to simplify it. 50 to 60 people played the game at each playtest, a good number of people. In 2013, when they were developing Lost World, Daddy Kish already had the idea that every boss fight is a massive supersonic fight. But then Lost World didn't have a supersonic fight, so you were thinking about it, and then you didn't do it in Lost World. And you didn't enforce this either, so yeah, think all you want, but you ain't doing shit. Action speaks louder than words, and words speak louder than thoughts. So at the end of the day, I mean, they can let you play a Supersonic and Lost World at least. Forces didn't even, well, Forces let you do that for $2, and then they had to reverse that. But yeah, I mean, you're thinking about it, but there's no Supersonic boss in Lost World. I mean, it's a bit of a mess, but that's Daddy Kish for you. Kishimoto thinks Henshin is to Kamen Rider and Ultraman works what Supersonic is. I don't know what the fuck that means. Okay, weebs, you can explain this one, because this seems like some weeb shit. It says they took 5 years to complete Giganto. The first boss? The first Supersonic boss? How would that have taken you 5 years? Did you like redo it like 20 times or something? I don't know. Anyway, there's more information. Let's keep going. In the original Giganto boss fight, so I'm guessing, assuming they must have redone it multiple times, because if it took you 5 years, you must have been redoing it. Amy appears in the sky to give rings to Sonic, while Giganto is emitting beams. The translation's a bit poor here, but it was cut because it breaks the pace. Amy was giving rings? What, so they didn't want you to run out of rings, basically? Like, Amy was just going to hand you rings? I guess 400 rings wasn't enough. They wanted to make it easier. What they cared about the level design of Ares Island What they cared about regarding the level design of Ares Island is that getting lost can be enjoyment instead of uncomfortableness. Yeah, translation's not the greatest, but I'm guessing they wanted people to feel like they could get lost in Ares, because that would feel like it would add to the experience, I guess, of a desert island, maybe. I think that's what he's saying he was going for, I'm guessing. In the original Wyvern boss fight, Sonic runs on the back of it instead of the glowing road. That's pretty interesting. So they had different ideas for the bosses, and they ultimately decided on whichever one they ended up liking the most, right? I haven't played Wyvern in ages, so I can't really say if this method would have been better than what we actually got, but it's interesting to see what was considered. We've got more shit here. Supersonic Cutting Through Night is inspired by Goemon Ishikawa from Lupin the Third. Again, weebs, I'm sure you know about this shit. I don't know what the fuck this means, okay? But it was inspired from something, right? In the original night boss fight, it runs across the whole island using the wheels, and Sonic chases it. But they scrapped the idea because it felt no different from previous Sonic games boss fights. Running across the whole island felt no different from the... Okay, well, it was a different idea and they scrapped it. Tank originates from the gimmick in Asteroid Coaster from Sonic Colors. Which one was Tank again? I'm trying... I've honestly forgotten a lot of these bosses. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, look, there's no boss rush mode, okay? I can't replay them without a whole new file. So, like, you know, let me see. Tank. Let me try and remember which one Tank was. That was that. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, I was looking at it on the other screen. That was some Asteroid Coaster. Asteroid Coaster? What in Asteroid Coaster resembles that? It's been a while since I played Asteroid Coaster. I mean, nonetheless, Kishimoto referencing Colors, no surprise, he directed that. And that was like the only thing he directed that was well received before Frontiers, so, you know, I guess we gotta give him that. There's more, okay? We got some tweets here. It says, according to Kishimoto, the true physical appearance of the final boss hasn't been revealed because it depends on how each one perceives what death would look like. Sonic, Sage, and we see different things. So this is basically a cop-out. It's fucking stupid, let's be real. So the boss is supposed to be how we perceive death. So they made it a planet. Who perceives death as a purple planet with a bullet hell? Like, come on, okay? The only perceptions of death that exist in the world we live in are seeing nothing, which is like the atheist belief, reincarnation, or heaven or hell. That's it. Those are the only things that people would consider death to feel like, right? A purple planet? Yeah, it's a bit of a cop-out. Just to clarify, we see the entirety as the moon, since the symbol of death is typically the moon in fiction. We never know what Sonic and Sage... Okay, so, yeah, I mean... let me not get into that. I don't really care about the story making sense as long as the gameplay is fire. And fighting a moon was not fire. So, I mean, even if it made sense, I'll be like, what the fuck? Why are we fighting a moon as the ending? Or whatever, planet, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And it says here, he mentioned the time constraint of the development and said they didn't have much time to make the latter part of the game because of too many trials and errors in the early stage. He also added that they tried their best to make the true final boss even with the restriction. And it says here, yes, momentum or physics were taken into consideration during the development, and they study which part needs it or not. Kishimoto stated that is why the game's control feels like a hybrid of adventure games and recent Sonic games, meaning the boost. So we're going to click on that one real quick. So they consider momentum. That's why it felt like there was momentum in certain areas, like the rail launching. But then other areas were stiff, like the light dash that had no momentum. You did a light dash, you stopped dead in your tracks. They felt like they were doing what was best. What they really should have done is focus more on the momentum. But nonetheless, they had some kind of middle ground of momentum and stiffness, which, you know, I guess for tired platforming, it's good to have some stiffness, but I think they went too far, especially in cyberspace, which they actually thought controlled well for some reason. They were wrong on that, but nonetheless, it's a good lesson for them. But back onto this topic about the time constraint, right? There's been a debate as to whether Sonic Frontiers was truly finished or if it was unfinished, and the reason for that, a lot of it has to do with the DLC. Now, the DLC is adding a bunch of updates that are all free, by the way. And it's adding things that essentially a lot of people are saying should have been in the main game. Especially like, you know, the photo mode, the challenge modes, the jukebox, open zone challenges. I don't give a fuck about new Coco. Even the additional playable characters for a full price game would be something that would have been nice to have in the game, but I wouldn't say that's a mandatory requirement. But there's a lot of things that felt like they were missing. No ability to replay stages, and I'm guessing these new challenge modes probably involve some kind of boss rush. So them saying essentially that they didn't have much time to make the latter part of the game, and that they tried to make the best of the situation, makes a lot of sense. Sonic Team being rushed towards the end, I mean, it's kind of annoying because 5 years and you're still talking that we got rushed kind of shit. Which is, it's like 5 years and you're still saying that. Well, I guess with the next game, now they know what to do. Everything will be fine and that. We've done that a million times. I'm not about to do that again. Okay, you had 5 years. Now, obviously, they didn't know what they were doing at the start, so they had to do a bunch of trial and error, which ate into their time. On top of that, they had to beg Sega for another year, which means Sega were willing to put this game out in, November 2021? Which just goes to show how much of a problem Sega is when it comes to this franchise. But they managed to push them back 1 year, and still, they were like, oh, post-Ares, yeah, we're cutting corners, Chaos Islands become Colors Island, 2D sections everywhere, reuse Chronos 3 times, and that's with an extra year, right? Either you give them the extra year, or you give them more manpower, or both. But this whole idea that Sega even thought that they could drop this in 2021, ridiculous, right? Is ridiculous. So this company's a bit of a mess, because like Sonic Team are showing that they have some potential here finally, and it's like, what's gonna happen? I don't know. We'll see what happens with Frontiers 2. Maybe now that Frontiers 1 isn't a complete flop. I mean, it's still mostly yellow scores, but you got close to green, right? We saw green for a little bit, right? You know, now that this is doing a lot better, especially with the user reception and the fact that they're even updating it, I'm hoping that this means that the sequel, you know, they get the budget, the manpower required. Because it's all fine and dandy saying throw more years at it, but we're getting older and we're going to die. Throw more people at it, double the manpower if you have to do double the work, you know, in less time, essentially. So double the shit, make a bigger game for the sequel. Don't reuse all the island assets for the sequel, because I know you're going to be tempted to do that. Please don't do that. Okay, I'll do a full Sonic Frontiers 2 wishlist video at some point, but I don't really want to focus too much on Frontiers 2 because Frontiers 1 is not over yet. We got these updates. I want to do some wishlist stuff for these updates. I don't know if they're going to do updates for 2024 or if they're just going to move on to something else, like another game or whatever. But yeah, Kishimoto has spoken. He's got opinions, and yes, the game was essentially rushed, released in, I guess, a somewhat unfinished state because they wanted to touch up the later islands, but they couldn't. But that be the game. That be Sega. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. How did you like how Sonic Frontiers turned out? Are you happy that this DLC is free and can hopefully, you know, lead to some kind of improvement to the game that will make the game be improved? I'm honestly running out of things to say. But yeah, and of course, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Make sure to check out the non-Sonic channel. The link will be in the description. Oh yeah, apparently what's it called? There's a Sonic Frontiers, there's a Game Awards vote. People are voting for the Sonic Frontiers to be nominated for a Game Awards related thing, and they're begging Sonic Tubers to tell everyone so that you go and spam votes. I typed that in wrong, didn't I? Did I spell hedgehog wrong? Yeah, I spelled hedgehog wrong. Okay, cool. They're begging people to vote. So where's the thing? Yeah, it's here. Yeah, so if you want to vote for the Game Awards, it's like a player's choice kind of thing, you know. So it's not the regular award because that's obviously going to Elden Ring, but it's like some player's choice. I think the first one's already gone. So you just go here and then you can like vote. You have to sign in and whatnot, and then if you want Frontiers to win, go in and vote on this thing. Essentially, I'm not really voting because I don't care. And my game of the year is not even on this list. It's Spark the Electric just a 3. So, whatever. But if you really want to see Frontiers win something, then you can check that out. And then you can see them get their award on the non-Sonic channel, link in the description. But I will react to the Game Awards next week. That's going to be a fire stream. Game Awards reaction stream. But yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell. Oh yeah, make sure to check out the non-Sonic channel, link will be in the description. But that's all I have to say right now. So, Premy out.